Fellow Ambazonians, Asaloruna. This one na the voice of the Deputy Defense Chief of the Ambazonian Governing Council, aka Sense Pass King, Capo Daniel. Today, we're na the 19th day for this month of May 2022. I bring una a special edition for our daily podcast. This one is be titled, Not All That Glitters is Gold. I repeat again, not all that glitters is gold. This is the story of the elevated slave, the house nigger, the Modisiam for inside La Republic. Those where they call them say our own, who seek nothing honorable or admirable, but all they want is to have their pension, their salary, to take care of themselves and their family. The chop a chop generation. They scratch my back, I scratch your back generation at the expense of the poor and vulnerable people. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we go examine an audio message of one of such individuals who can be in circulation in many platforms and journalists their chat groups. But first, to lay the foundation to my presentation, I want to tell una say an occupation, a recolonization, is a matter of brutal physical punishment. Our grandmothers of 70 years old have to work in the farm to feed their great-grandchildren, those who have sell plots and sacrifice their cattle and goats to sell and send their children to Yaoundé in the university, have watched them come back to do burnt skin, despite the wealth God has empowered our territory with petroleum and all sorts of natural resources. Occupation and colonization is also a physical abuse where our people have been called Le Bamenda, the Biafra, Anglophones, rats, cockroaches. Ministers of La Republic, their governors, their SDO have walked around threatening our chiefs, beat up our women, rape our sisters, and rob our taxi men in mud in the name of Kale Kale. This is what recolonization looks like. It has been an endless hours of hard labor for our people who push trucks, those who carry sand, those who do all sorts of manual labor. There is no hope for them. Their Bameleke counterpart that lives amongst us, the so-called frogs, will receive benefits from so-called Jangi, who will receive regular money from the Cameroon state, labeled as trade unions to empower their people. Some of our people would think is Miyongo. There is no hope for our people. There is no water to drink for the thirsty of our people, just like the Hebrew people suffered in the desert of the Egyptians to toil and work as slaves. The Ambazonian people for the past 60 years have toiled and worked like slaves with no return. The only hope of our people have been to abandon their land, walk into the diaspora for greener pastures, because indeed all the pastures of our land have been rooted up and buried in the Swiss account of the masters of the Bulu Beti clique that rules over us with an iron fist. But behold, a new generation, the never again generation, have risen up to fall no more. We have made our mark, we have pinned our stick, we have whole grass. We have said that enough is enough. We shall not hand to the next generation the same which we inherit from the failed generation of scratch my back, I scratch your own, chop a chop. For these people, all that matters is for them to be able to scavenge what they can from the leftover from the master's table. These are people who have no dignity. They speak like the king, they speak with the fluent language of the queen, but yet their stomach is rotten. Listen to one of those. All that glitters is not gold.
As far as I'm concerned, it is the failure to respect what was agreed in Fumba between Ahijo and Poncha.
And what was that?
They agreed that the economic system, the political system, the administrative system, the legal system, the educational system will operate as they were in July 1961. And they will only be blended at the center, which means that the system of government, administration, legal, and all what that operated in the Republic of Cameroon before October 1961 will be allowed to operate in East Cameroon. Same with what obtained in West Cameroon will be allowed to operate in West Cameroon. And the two systems will only be blended at the federal level, that is at the center. That's it. And that is the Anglophone problem. This whole idea of saying that during the Germans we were one, there's no Anglophone, there's no Anglophone. Please, the person who wears the shoes knows where it pinches.
Prof, before we take leave of you, how do you think the challenges or threats to national unity can be overcome?
First of all, we have to recognize that there is a threat to national unity. The situation in the northwest and southwest, the situation in the Grand North, the situation in the East region, all point to the fact that there is a threat to national unity. And Cameroonians, the office holder, should be honest enough and put the nation ahead of their personal interests. People come and go. The institutions remain. The country will remain. For us to ensure and safeguard national unity, we must work as Cameroonians. We must be able to face the unpleasant fact and say this is what should be done and this is what we have to do. And Cameroonians should avoid being hypocrites. They should not think that their ultimate goal is to be appointed A or B or whatever. Their ultimate goal is to serve Cameroonians. Because it is unacceptable that at this 21st century, there are areas in Cameroon without drinking water, without electricity, without health centers. How do you accept that in the 21st century, you still have primary schools, children being taught under trees? It is unacceptable. Cameroon is a rich country, rich natural resources, rich human resources. So where is the problem? Why should we be having people studying under trees in Cameroon? It is unacceptable.
Thank you indeed very much, Prof, for your time.
All that glitters is not gold. The language of a house nigger or the taskmaster, that means say the man where master it use them for talk me the other worker then the work fine me then they in line. As we know, when slave master a day, he get some slave them where they enter for a house for talk what's the way it happen for camp. It give them instruction, it make them feel fine. Now that one the way they call and say house nigger or elevated slave. Now they know that sweet language for come talk and for their own people the way they suffer, me then continue for suffer. Their tongue it be sweet as with the talk, no be all thing where they glitter, na it be gold. Would the talk say some sheep them they way inside na goat, we don't know where na sheep be close. So if we don't listen very well, ladies and gentlemen, for which way this prof and this pa it talk, it go sound very good, but inside na devil. Inside na the thing where they kill we, it don't subjugate our people them for so many years since La Republic it take over our country. I go explain them for una, make una know the truth and make una no be deceived continually by our own them, where they go listen for the slave master and then they come back for can calm we down, hoping say they could get some favor for the slave master because now they don't help for calm we down. The first thing we this our professor he talk na say
it is the failure to respect what was agreed in Fumba between Ahijo and Foncha.
And what was
so he talk say the problem where they now because say they don't fail for put to practice for implement which way Ahijo and Foncha they be agree for Fumban conference. This one are the big deception and dilution of the facts where the Heleb La Republic for continue for keep our people them for down because they know what me they know the truth. They want dilute our history. The first thing we wanna give for understand na say Ahijo it be the represent na a state. It be the represent na French Cameroon. Jongu Foncha it be the represent na the Southern Cameroon. So now the two state them when they start for lie or for dilute or for soften the context for our history. Now for they inject the poison where the one may go swallow them. It no be been an agreement between Amadou Ahijo and Jongu Foncha. It's supposed to be an agreement between the Southern Cameroons and the French Cameroon. Two states coming into agreement. When them put them that way, it go give people them the power. And na way they no want them, make we know the power, we will get them. So for dilute them, for reduce the state into two individual them, Jongu Foncha and Amadou Ahijo na part of that deception. Them one me go believe say na thing way they be go for go agree am for inside Fumban, they no implement am na e be the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, there was no agreement in the Fumban conference. If anybody they way they be don't see that document, people then they way they don't ask them where they don't work for inside government like Supreme Court Justice Aya Paul, we get access for Cameroon history, all the constitution and all the document the way if you need them. Idan talks there is no such document as an agreement for Fumban, including Christian Cardinal Tumi himself, who been an independent thinker, for an interview granted for the newspaper where they call him Le Voix du Court. Christian Cardinal Tumi, he talks say, I quote, there is no union between both Cameroons. The Fumban conference were a conference for wine drinkers. No agreement was reached, no document was signed by both parties. When I hear the big difference for language, the two Cameroons, the two countries them come together. For come, no be for can sign an agreement. The Fumban conference was never to sign an agreement. The Fumban conference was to implement an agreement that was already made. Make a take una back into history. This one a document for discussion will be go on for the United Kingdom Parliament. At that time, this discussion it be dated July 1959, 30th of July. It therefore inside volume 610, CC 605/2. Sir Harold Edward, he asked the Secretary of State for the colonies what agreement it can be reached between the political parties for the Southern Cameroons in connection for the question where it go form the basis for the plebiscite. For number 3, another parliamentarian, he also asked him, the parliamentarian this time in name na Mr. Sir Sorensen. He asked the Secretary of State, he submitted a question, say what is the present policy of the political parties in the Southern Cameroons in respect to the future of their country. Remember, I put them country because we are a country, a sovereign state. How far agreement on the question to be asked in the plebiscite have been reached, and what attitude would Her Majesty's government take in the United Nations? I want make una know the truth and how things they be the waka. So the United Kingdom, if you don't talk, say it be left up to the political parties for make up their mind for the question the way they go ask them for the plebiscite. That means say if it be now for Ndele and Jongu Foncha, their political party, for come together to agree before the United Nations, it go make the decision for the General Assembly. Forgive una the facts about our history, fellow Ambazonians. This is very important for every Ambazonian citizen. If you know fi hear am, you contact me, the governing council official, for give una this truth about our history. Truth is power. Knowledge is power. I no go emphasize them enough. Make una no be deceived again and again. This is the truth about our life and our country. At the time for the debate, the United Kingdom, their government, their secretary for colonies, he be contact the Southern Cameroons for ongoing negotiation about their future since they be done withdraw from Nigeria. They be talk, say no be just the government, but make all the political parties them, as we are here for debate for inside parliament for United Kingdom, me the political party them come together, make decision about the question them, where they go ask them for the plebiscite. That means say the kind for relationship with the future for their country. They be done tell them already, say they get na two choice, either for B for Nigeria or for B with French Cameroon. The political party, the way they be there at that time, where they be win the election for 1959, it be been the KNDP for Jongu Foncha, where you get 14 seats them for parliament. You get the KNC, where you been a party for Ndele, they be win 8 seats them for parliament. And then you get KPP, where na the political party for Sam Mofo, where come out for Santa. If he be to na sense past king, because if he be na man way they talk English, he be the talk na pidgin. At that time, the KNC, they be join forces together with the KPP, so that made them become one group where they call them Nana CPNC, where be led by Ndele na for the way then take some for we be na for leader for the other party. They making me be chief whip for inside the parliament for Southern Cameroon. At that time, he be talk for parliament, say, I have crushed the carpet. Where he want mean for talk, say, don't cross the carpet. He don't always remain for insist for talk a pidgin, even inside the parliament for the Southern Cameroon. Know your history and know it very well. These two political parties, then where they be emerge. That means say the Anglo-fool a party, KNDP, and the new party will be a combination of Endele and Pa Sama Mufo, their party, will be na CPNC. They be gathered together, they form their opinion them and their agreement for what type of relationship way we will be if we join Nigeria or what way we will be if we join La Republique. Anglo-fool, as the head of the government, he be engaged with Amadou Ahidjo. They come into agreement for which way they want to make it be. This document it will be submitted for the Southern Cameroon Bar Association. Me them formulate the legal document of the option that we will go get them. The one way it be for our relationship with French Cameroon. They be carry am go time for Cameroon for a delegation where it be led by Anglo-fool. It be get Endele and Munna for inside that association. They be carry that document where it then be well thought of. In the process it will be very smooth. It no be in a high business. Then take that document where they call them say plebiscite part. Then go time for Yaoundé, submit them for the government for Yaoundé. The Yaoundé government they sign the agreement. That was a treaty. That was an agreement that is binding. We form the basis for our application for the plebiscite for the United Nations. That document where they be bring them back from Yaoundé. They be take them, they submit them for the secretariat for the United Nations. Say now the agreement that way, the two countries that don't agree, say if them join, now say it could be. For that agreement, it be state, say the people them for Southern Cameroon, they go remain, their government, it go remain the way be before 1961, while La Republique, it go remain the same way be, with the same power, but for the power for army, currency, and public relationship. Now that three power, the way the central, the federal government, it go get them, but both country, the administration, they go remain the same. This is the basis for the Cameroon and Southern Cameroon's union, where the United Nations became for their secretariat, and that was what the Fumban Conference was supposed to come up with formality to implement, not to make a new agreement. It was to be implemented according to the document. After the agreement on how this will be implemented, the modalities, it was supposed to be now submitted to the Parliament of the Southern Cameroon and the Parliament of La Republique for the parliaments to vote, and then Southern Cameroon will make a referendum, not a plebiscite, a referendum to vote on the new constitution or the new arrangement, and La Republique will also vote on their side. Then they will create the confederation where the two countries they go work as one. They go first sign the Union Treaty and they go take them back to the United Nations. So this is the truth. There was no agreement in Fumban Conference because there was supposed to be no agreement. In Fumban Conference, according to the submission to the United Nations, it is supposed to be a conference where it will bring together France, the United Kingdom, officials of the United Nations, Southern Cameroon representatives of political parties and the head of government, and La Republique du Cameroon, head of state. Make them come together for bring a document on how the plebiscite it will be implemented. This document in no be unique. They be also submit for the United Nations the agreement with the Nigerian government on how we go be if we join Nigeria. For the one for Nigeria government, if we talk say Southern Cameroon, their state, if we be absorbed into Nigeria, we will get not only 4 power. The power for control our primary education, our cooperatives, our veterinary and health sector, and the agricultural sector, while the areas of army, police, air force, customs, currency, all will be under the federal government of Nigeria. There was an agreement before the plebiscite. There was no question about the mind of our people, the will, or what we were getting into. That agreement is binding. The problem we face, it is not because the so-called agreement that was reached in Fumban between Amadou Ahidjo and Anglo-fool were never implemented. It is a lie. The problem we have is that the United Nations Resolution 1608, which approved the plebiscite court that was supposed to create a confederation that protects both Southern Cameroon and French Cameroon from absorption, was never even considered or implemented. It was ignored, and the constitution drawn up by French Cameroon was imposed on the people of the British Southern Cameroon. That constitution was even violated. So let it be known to all sons and daughters of Southern Cameroon, La République du Cameroun Union with Ambazonia was an annexation of our territory. It was illegal. It was against the principle and the plebiscite accord. The plebiscite part was clear. It was binding on both states. It was violated. Our territory was annexed. Our leaders were deceived and fooled. How that happened is another story for another day. God bless you all. But you shall know the truth, because only the truth shall and can set us free.